A man in court this morning facing charges for lying to police. Here, that's the latest arrest in the deadly shooting in a Salt Lake City church. And while some parts of the U.S. prepare for a massive winter storm this weekend, it's a much different story for us here in Utah. So beyond that investigation, hear what water experts are now warning because of our low snowpack. And more than 20 Utah athletes are heading to the Olympics. We look at a born and raised Utahn competing in the alpine skiing.
Live and streaming, this is KSL News Now.
Of course, this and a lot more. Thanks for joining us on KSL News Now. I'm Brian Carlson. We'll get to all those stories here in just a few minutes, but I think a lot of us want to know, is there anything we can plan for the weekend here?
Well, I'd plan on some colder air and some cleaner air, too. So we'll be breathing much more easily along the Wasatch Front Saturday and Sunday. But Southern Utah, well, it's a little bit different. So let me get you to those bullet points. How about a little Southern Utah storm? Hey, something to talk about. Something coming out of the skies for once. Rain, snow showers on tap for today. The weekend, well, it's going to be on the colder side, but it will also usher in some cleaner air. So we like that. Haze will then quickly return, you guessed it, next week. So it's a short-lived system, but it's nice to see something on the map for once, right? Some light flurries from Page north into Garfield County. Now you got a couple of snow showers here popping up in Marysville, Beaver, and even south towards the mountain passes north of St. George. Your forecast in St. George, I think you're going to stay dry. You may squeak out a shower here, but all in all, temperatures are going to be in the 50s for most of today. Now, I got cloud cover in the north and a couple of returns on radar here. Checking the webcams in Logan, Snowville, out there towards Park Valley, not seeing much. So, dry air in place, and we do have clouds today. Temperatures will top in the upper 30s and low 40s for majority of the Wasatch Front, and we will deal with haze. Coming up in just a few minutes, I mentioned cleaner air. We'll talk about that cold front that's going to sweep things out coming up.
All right, looking forward to it. Thank you much, Matt. Speaking of clean things here this morning, let's talk about the time now, 7:03. A man accused of interfering with police during a deadly shooting at a funeral in Salt Lake City, appearing now in court for the first time. Investigators say the shooting left 2 people dead and several others injured, and the larger case remains unsolved. News specialist Tyrese Boone joins us live this morning. Tyrese, what are prosecutors saying?
Good morning, Brian. This hearing is going to be based on a guy who prosecutors say obstructed justice during that funeral shooting that happened just a couple of weeks ago. And actually, that investigation is still ongoing. So 32-year-old Ryan David Totai was accused of or actually charged with obstruction of justice. Police say the charge stems from a January 7th shooting in the parking lot of a Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints meeting house on North Redwood Road. A funeral was happening inside when a dispute between people who knew each other escalated into gunfire. 2 men were killed during the incident and 6 others were injured. Investigators say Totai interfered with first responders and matched witness descriptions near the shooting. Prosecutors also say videos of his phone place him at the scene and contradict statements he made to the police. While Totai appears in court this morning, we learned that yesterday a second suspect had also been arrested, accused of trying to hide evidence related to that same deadly shooting. And Totai's first hearing will be held today at the Salt Lake City Courthouse at 10 a.m. And we'll continue to keep you updated on this court case and so many other court cases that are going to be occurring throughout the day. Reporting live from Salt Lake City, Tyrese Boone, KSL 5 News.
Thanks for the update, Tyrese. Appreciate it. Totai's trial comes as Salt Lake City police have made another arrest connected to the deadly funeral shooting. Investigators say a second man is now accused of trying to hide evidence.
We believe that there are more people out there that probably know what's going on, but we just haven't been able to get down to the bottom of it because of lack of cooperation.
Now, detectives say 22-year-old Ezekiel Tai has been arrested. They say they found him cleaning the inside of a car they believe was at the scene of the shooting. Police say the license plates and GPS unit were both removed from the car as well. Tai was booked into jail, accused of obstructing a homicide investigation. 2 weeks after the shooting, no suspects have been arrested for shooting 8 people, killing 2 of them. Detectives say a lack of cooperation is making this investigation harder. Also happening in court today, the man accused of shooting and killing another man near East High School last week is set to appear before a judge for the first time. Salt Lake police say 23-year-old Shane Hageman shot 42-year-old Tyson Babb and reportedly saw him attempting to steal a bike. This happened Tuesday last week near 13th East and 7th South. Hageman was also booked into jail on suspicion of murder and will appear virtually before a judge at 10 o'clock this morning. A Utah County man who swindled dozens of people out of a lot of money now headed to prison. Investigators from agencies across the state say Dalton Slingerup wrote bad checks, stole e-bikes, trailers, cars, and scammed people out of vacations that never happened. The Utah Attorney General says he pled guilty to numerous counts of theft and theft by deception. He was also ordered to pay back his victims nearly $250,000. Cameron Chester says he lost about $2,000 in a deal with Slingerup and learned some valuable lessons.
Kind of made us realize that, like, oh, not everyone is a good person. It's unfortunate, but I do think that there's a way for him to move forward.
Now, Slingerup faces 1 to 15 years in prison on each of those charges. The judge ordered that he can serve those terms concurrently or at the same time. Vernal police now firing back on claims made by a Roosevelt murder suspect who fled the country after his neighbor was killed. Henry Rishuo Jr. is in the Philippines, but tells East Idaho News that he didn't kill Kimberly Hyde in 2024. He told them he was doing the interview to clear his name and blamed Hyde's husband for her death. Vernal police are strongly disputing that. They say Rashua is the only suspect in this case. Detectives also say several statements made in the interview directly contradict that evidence. And then prosecutors have filed charges against the woman accused of hitting and killing a man at an intersection near Alta High School. Police say Zoe Blankenstein ran a stop sign last week before hitting Joshua Perry. She told police that she was on her way home from a birthday dinner and she didn't see Perry before she started turning. Among other charges, Blankenstein was charged with automobile homicide and driving under the influence. Meanwhile, Sandy leaders say they'll be installing some temporary safety measures at that intersection over the next month or two. They are looking at overhead flashing lights or LED stop signs in response to the family. It is a response to a community petition asking for action from the city. Leaders plan to launch a traffic study soon on a more permanent solution they hope will lead to a roundabout or a traffic signal. And as millions of Americans are preparing for an intense winter storm this weekend, it's a much different conversation here in Utah. Water experts say parts of our state are seeing record low snowpack. It's a big problem because that's where we get 95% of the water we use.
We have only a little over 2 months to go until we get to our typical snowpack peak, so we're kind of running out of time.
Now, another concern is fire danger. And experts say the mountains could dry out early this year, creating extra fuel for wildfires. So we're watching our situation right there, Matt. Any hope on the horizon?
You know, a little bit for southern Utah, and it's not huge, but something is better than nothing, right? This is Center Street downtown in Beaver. We do have a couple of flurries trying to get going. I'll show you those that radar image here in just one click. But we'll start in St. George, where we tried to get some rain going, but really there's too much dry air below the cloud base, and so it kind of just eats up all that rain before it even hits the ground. Enterprise, you're trying to get flurries going. Kolob, Plateau, probably some light snow up there as well. Now you zoom out, a lot of the action is north of St. George. This is Beaver County, so Milford and the town of Beaver itself, light snow showers trying to hit the ground there. Over the mountain passes of I-15 in this area, I am seeing some light snow. Now you move into eastern Kane County towards Lake Powell, light flurries trying to get started. And into Moab, you've got light showers out there. You move into the north, none of this hitting the ground, but radar trying to give us some hope there. Now, a low pressure system off the California coast is going to continue to slide eastward. That'll keep showers in play today for southern Utah. So Moab out towards the Loa area into Cedar City, you're probably going to pick up some showers. The rest of the state, dry, clouds and mountain flurries. Coming up in just a few minutes, I got your 7-day forecast.
Looking forward to it. Thank you much, Matt. An Ogden police officer is being called a hero this morning. He helped save a family asleep in the middle of a house fire. So the officer saw smoke coming from the home near 23rd Street and Monroe Boulevard. 8 people were inside, all asleep. The officer started banging on their door. Lydia Aras-Mendez woke up to that really loud knocking.
I thank him a lot because if it wasn't for him, because we were all sleeping, then who knows what would have happened.
I'm glad he was there. Fortunately, only a few of the family's belongings were destroyed and everyone made it out alive. Ogden firefighters estimate the damage around $70,000. About 20 firefighters were on scene with help from South Ogden. Right now, it's unclear what caused the fire. And right now, a mysterious pair of deaths continue to elude investigators near the Wyoming border, trying to figure out what happened. About a 40-minute drive from Evanston, Lyman police say they spent hundreds of hours trying to solve the murders of 2 people on December 16th. According to local news outlets, Macy Bradshaw and James Hunter died in Salt Lake City after a murder-suicide. In an update yesterday, they say the Utah Medical Examiner's Office will determine their cause and manner of death. Now, there are no reports of damage from yesterday's 4.7 magnitude earthquake that hit near the Utah-Wyoming border. The epicenter of that quake hit about 25 miles south of Evanston at 7:49 a.m. People reported feeling it as far south as Provo. Something people reported out or pointed out is that the quake hit around the same time as the 2020 earthquake that struck near Magna.
Earthquakes are random. They can happen any time of the day. In fact, there's no relationship between the 2 earthquakes that are happening on separate fault systems, but they are reminding us that all of Utah, not just the Wasatch Front, but all of Utah is seismically active.
Now, the U.S. Geological Survey says there's nearly 60% chance we could see a magnitude 3 aftershock or higher within the next week. 2 Utah lawmakers have announced a bill that would create a nationwide hotline for abuse and human trafficking. The bill's sponsors say the bill would require the Utah Attorney General's office to petition the FCC for a 3-digit number to make reporting abuse fast and easy. Now, the sponsors say when someone is in a crisis, you might not have time to Google where to get help. They say they hope simplifying things will save lives. And a Senate committee has now put a hold on Utah's so-called Ice Out bill. The bill, sponsored by Senator Nate Bluin, representing South Salt Lake, would essentially limit how much of federal immigration agents and state and local agencies could work together. The bill faced a heated hearing yesterday in which lawmakers tabled the measure. Governor Spencer Cox now calling on state leaders to embrace virtue during his annual State of the State address last night.
We see it in both major political parties and those who represent us at the national level, making a mockery of Franklin's virtues, rewarding grift, rejecting decency, and wantonly tearing down the very institutions that made us the envy of every nation. America desperately needs a return to virtue. You could say that America needs a return to Utah.
Now, the governor didn't refer to any political leader by name, nor did he say which institutions are being torn down. But he did say that he believes Utah is an example that the nation should look to overcome a toxic political climate. You can watch the governor's full speech on our KSL YouTube page. You may be watching that right now. Today, a huge winter storm closing in on the eastern U.S. and dozens of states facing weather advisories, watches, or warnings. At least 10 have already declared a state of emergency. The storm expected to hit the plains first, where the storm's massive pool of moist air will clash with some Arctic air. Those bone-chilling temperatures will push the storm eastward. Major cities in the Northeast could get their largest snowfall in at least 4 years. That includes New York, where New York leaders there are mounting a massive battle to prepare all 5 boroughs.
We have about 70,000 tons of salt ready to go in our 275 plows.
It's just entirely premature for them to be able to know how many people will lose power.
Now, southern states bracing for destructive ice from freezing rain and the storm's most serious threat, one that could cause extended power outages. And then airlines catching on that this storm could be a doozy. Several airlines are already allowing you to rebook or cancel your flight. United, Delta, American, and Southwest Airlines all released travel advisories. Now, they're offering options for customers to change plans if they were to schedule travel over the next few days. The carrier is also waiving rebooking fees as long as the rescheduled travel takes place within a specific amount of days. The storm is expected to disrupt travel nationwide. What's wild is you're seeing how big that storm is and how problems are for so many people, and yet here in Utah, we're just dying for anything.
Yeah, completely skipping over our state. But you know, we did have some sundogs. I got something here, right? And that's these little light flares right here on the left-hand side and the right-hand side of the sun. And the folklore believed that the sundogs were actually indicative of a storm approaching. And there is one out there just to the southwest of California, and it'll slide well to our south. In fact, this will be a big player within that Arctic storm, or that winter storm that's going to play out this weekend because of the Arctic air that's going to combine with it. Now here in Utah, the tail end of that Arctic air will be widely just shredded apart. I mean, it's not going to bring in a ton of cold air for us. Moderated is what we'll call it. And you'll see some snow showers in the mountaintops. Most of the action today, central and southern Utah, picking up rain, snow showers. Those extend into Colorado and the Four Corners by 11 p.m. tonight. Front still working through central Utah, continues to drop south. By tomorrow afternoon, I've got partly cloudy skies across the state. It's dry. Sunday, a trailing piece of energy could kick off some snow showers in the mountaintops, and that's your weekend. So for today, hey, maybe a 10th quarters possible there through the south central valleys. You get into Moab, Monticello, and Blanning. They're also going to be picking up a little bit of wet weather. So for today, some of us see some showers in central Utah, some of us don't. Grand Junction, Colorado, maybe a rain-snow mix. Down to the south, the higher elevations picking up rain, snow showers, but if you live below 6,000 feet or so, it's probably going to be mostly in the form of rain. Now, looking at the forecast in the northern region, Star Valley, 26, 42 in West Valley, mostly cloudy skies across the north, and of course we are talking about haze along the valley floor of the Wasatch Front. Provo is going to go for 43 today. St. George, how about a 55 to 52? Breezy. We call these gap winds, and that's when the wind out of the north kind of squeezes through the canyon mouths near St. George and creates extra gusts. So it could be a little bit breezy in downtown St. George, but you know what? After that, we calm down and we warm up. Wasatch Front, cloudy, 41 today, haze. Tomorrow, clean air. We're going to see some blue skies. It's going to be so nice, but it's going to come at the cost of cold air. 35 and 39 Saturday, Sunday, respectively. And then we're going to go into the mid and upper 40s with haze headed into next week. It's like we get a little storm and then it's just back to what we know.
We get a break and then we're just back for more. All right, thank you much there, Matt. We're learning something new about Utah's ancient history. A new study from the University of Utah has found the domestication of a wild potato called the tuber. Well, it happened in the Four Corners area. Now, researchers looked at starch granules on early food processing tools. They were found at 9 archaeological sites dating as far back as 10,000 years ago. So this indicates the indigenous people there carried plants, established new populations in the Four Corners region, areas like the present-day Escalante, Bears Ears, and Mesa Verde. The study was published by the U of U this week after about a decade of research. Pretty interesting. Then in consumer headlines this morning, in addition to what we're seeing here in Utah, we got from the plains to the East Coast the threat of a winter weekend storm causing natural gas prices to skyrocket. Contracts for near term for the U.S. natural gas futures have jumped more than 70% so far this week. That according to data from FactSet. Bloomberg says that increase means the natural gas tracking to see its biggest jump since 1990. The extreme cold not only driving up demand, but could disrupt gas flow through pipelines and deplete stockpiles. The demand could also derail production at key hubs across the country. Then data from the Commerce Department shows that inflation remaining higher than normal. New data from the Commerce Department shows spending rose 0.5 percentage point in November as the holiday shopping season kicked into high gear. That's despite the higher prices. Also in November, income growth rose just 0.3%. The Fed's inflation gauge rose 0.2% on a monthly basis, which brought the rate to 2.8%, unchanged from September. And there's some good news for the economy. First-time unemployment benefit applications remain at a near 2-year low. The Bureau of Labor Statistics said there were around 200,000 submitted last week, up 1,000 from the previous week. But it still keeps the 4-week average at the lowest in 2 years. Continuing claims of unemployment continue to hover around a 4-year high. And just into the newsroom, the Utah Department of Workforce Services releasing the December jobs report for our state. Utah's unemployment rate sitting at 3.6%, which is 0.5% lower than the national average. The Beehive State also ahead of the curve in job growth rates, that number rising 1.2% in the past month, which is a nearly whole percentage point higher than the national average. And for skiers and snowboarders trying to enjoy what snow we have on Utah's mountains, we recently found out many are also getting hurt there on the slopes. From wrist sprains and ACL tears to everyday illnesses like the common cold. Intermountain Health says it treats 4,000 patients a year at its 7 on-mountain ski clinics.
We have a provider here, a nurse here, so we can function as an urgent care.
Some of that triage happens before the patient even comes in.
Now, as the clinic, it's not just for skiers there and snowboarders on the mountain. They offer care to anyone who comes in their door. And more than 20 Utah-based athletes heading to the Olympics as part of the U.S. ski and snowboard team. They're some of the nearly 100 athletes who represent Team USA in just a pair of weeks. The athletes with ties to Utah are a mix of those that train here, attend school here, and/or are from here. And that includes Mary Bocock, who's one of only 2 Utahns competing in alpine skiing. We sat down with her recently and learned it not only requires skill, but a little courage. She grew up in the heart of Salt Lake and is a current student at the University of Utah. She says being from Utah and an Olympian is especially exciting with the return of the Winter Games in 2034. Her older brother actually introduced her to the sport and says it made a huge impact.
Sometimes we would have races at Snow Basin and we would go to the start of the Olympic speed races, and that's so fun. We would have competitions of who could tuck down the hill the fastest.
Yeah, how fun would that be? The fastest indeed. Alpine skiers reach freeway speeds down the mountain. We'll be tracking her. Of course, many of our other locals headed to Italy, so stick with us to hear their stories. Now, the question is, if we can just get a little Olympic-sized snow here in Utah, that would be a handy thing.
Yeah, aren't you glad we're not having the Olympics here this year? Because it is ugly as far as snowpack's concerned. And not to mention, how about this blanket of gray along the valley floor? You've got mostly cloudy skies up above, and yes, dealing with the haze one more day today. I think we'll start to clear it towards the end of the day. Now, we've got some rain snow showers down in the south. It's snow up above 6,000 feet. Below that mark, you're probably mixing with some rain. Into the north, these aren't even hitting the ground, but radar is showing something, so we're trying. Your 3-day forecast through the weekend, cold, clean air working in here. 30s Saturday and Sunday, even a little bit of a breeze. So be ready for some cold, clean air this weekend in northern Utah.
All right, at least we can breathe it. Thank you much there, Matt. All right, the Transportation Security Administration has released its top 10 list of most unusual items detected at U.S. airport security checkpoints last year. So take a look. This replica of a pipe bomb topped the list. Now, TSA says it came through a checked bag at the Boise, Idaho airport, so just nearby. The fake bomb was made up of PVC pipes, wooden blocks wrapped in paper, and had wires attached to it. And a reminder that this was someone trying to take this through the airport. The passenger said the items, they said they were training aids. Among other items recovered by TSA across the U.S. were weapons, bullets, drugs, and turtles. Who's taking a turtle on the plane? Right here at home, speaking of animals, Hogle Zoo announcing its giraffe Minka expecting her first calf. Zoo staff say she's due next month. The zoo says giraffes are pregnant for 15 months. And their animal health teams are closely monitoring her for regular ultrasounds. I hope she delivers well. Thank you for joining us here on this segment of KSL News Now. We'll leave you the live look today of Salt Lake City. We're just waking up here on this Friday morning. We got a few clouds out there this morning and a great weekend ahead.